All right. Well, let's jump right into it then. Do you want to open up?
Yeah. So, what was the thing that we said we wanted to talk about? It was.
Yeah. Did
okay.
you want to dive into that right away?
Yeah, we can dive into that right away.
Okay. All right. Well then. Yeah. Okay. Then go ahead. I guess.
Oh,
Or do
I'm
you-
going.
I don't know. Do you want me to do it?
You can go ahead. I feel like you
Okay.
have a better take on it.
I have a better take on it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So I'll just jump right into it. So we do just on a service level on our website. You have we'll do obviously brand films, social media management. We'll build websites. We also just added, even if we don't record the video, will be open to video editing from now on. Whether you're a YouTuber, whether you're another marketing agency, whether you're really any industry that has a video, recorded a video, looking for some good editing, and you want some editing done by a media agency that's reliable, you can book a consultation through our website. You can reach out to us directly if you have any of our contact information. You can check it out on our website. You scroll down to the footer. I have it there. I know because I made the website. It should be Anthony@radiantmediavideo.com or Jesse@radiantmediavideo.com. You can message the info one. We're on all of them. You'll hear from one of us. So yeah. No, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah, video editing. New
Yeah.
service.
That covers it. Yeah, and we just wanted to offer that because we think that it's great that we get the chance to make these 2 to 3 minute videos or these pieces of short form content, but we want to branch into doing just editing for people too if they need it. And of course there's a lot of different varieties of people that are watching this, and we just want to be open to those people that are looking for our services right now. And so we wanted to make sure that we said that. But now we can get into some more fun stuff too. I think we always talk about what's new with AI, and I think you mentioned something.
It's becoming a trend that
Yeah.
I didn't initially intend to happen, but I also
Well, it's the newest form of media, so
right,
it makes
and I didn't realize it would grow to the extent that it has. Well, the speed that it has is probably better. And what I saw today, I shared it on our LinkedIn. If you don't follow, you should check it out on LinkedIn. It's just it should come up if you search Radiant Media. But AI, ChatGPT specifically, can now create videos, and pretty good ones, of anything that your imagination can muster up within reason. It'll do it. I saw a video of a guy who went and he just said something like, "Hey, I want a video of a cat skateboarding," and it made it. And then the guy was like, "I want the cat to be orange. I want the cat to be gray." And he just like just specifics. Oh, I want the skateboard to be made of bamboo and be blue, and it can do it. And it looks good. That's the crazy thing.
I gotta try this out right after.
Yeah, well, what that'll be really good for is B-roll.
Yeah.
B-roll, whether you're a media creator in YouTube, TikTok, or any sort of anything. It could be for this podcast if we wanted to make a clip with B-roll. And you know what? Just because of that, let's do it. Throw B-roll on this when you edit it. That's it. Unless it's a paid subscription. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. Put you on the gun like that.
Oh, am I doing it?
I don't know. You usually edit the podcast.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but I'm really excited to use that. I think because I saw a Twitter post about that, and I didn't know initially if that's what you were talking about, but now I'm remembering it. And one of the things that the guy said was he thinks that this is going to be competitive to Hollywood pretty soon. Just the fact that you can create something super quickly that's exactly how you want it to be. But I think what's really going to hold true throughout all of this innovation is the script that's behind it, right? Because it's like you can right now apparently imitate the magic of something like animation or something like, wanting to see a specific conversation happen, but you're not always going to get that through line that you can get from a well-written script. I guess you could say, hey, you can write a script with ChatGPT too, but I think it comes back to what we were talking about last week is the knowledge floor is increasing, but also the creativity floor is increasing too. So we're going to see, I think, just like really creative stuff. And naturally, there's going to be people that are going to be able to implement it in a faster and more efficient way. And then some people who, it'll just be like a hobby thing for them.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see a lot of, Da Vinci-esque creativity where there's going to be more people coming up that maybe they didn't have the resources prior to create some very, very visual, cinematic-like animation through AI that you couldn't have done before. It could be anybody now. That's the thing. It's like the resources are not as required. So I think that's one of the biggest things to take away from it is like you said, the floor is being raised. The resources are less. It's all kind of in one. You mentioned something. I don't know if this is real or if you just had an idea about the likeness thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is that a real thing? Or
Yeah. I saw an ad on Backstage about that when we were applying to different sorts of companies that we wanted to be involved with. So they literally will pay you for your likeness. Companies are going to start doing this. And they're going to be able to use your likeness to sell whatever they want to sell or to say whatever they want to say, which I think is,
risky.
Pretty risky, pretty scary because you don't know what your face is going to be used for. Yeah. So I think I've represented a number of brands so far, but I always try to make sure that whatever I am selling for that brand is something that I agree with and something that is, consistent with my moral character and everything like that. So that I think that is pretty scary, but it's probably the way things are going to go. It's just more efficient. It's just more quick. I mean, it's just better for business to have somebody to just do whatever you want to. But I think also it's like, are people going to be able to tell, what's AI and what is real? Because they're more likely, I know this, you're more likely to buy something from somebody who seems genuine and somebody who seems like they actually have had this experience. So it's going to be interesting to see if people are going to fall for an AI that says that they've had this experience.
I mean, that's already happening. That's already happening. I mean, there's videos that I've seen. I saw one. It was actually. I mean, I guess this would be under the umbrella of AI, where I think it was a gaming company that was just displaying their graphics on their new engine, and they were using a car on fire as an example of just they wanted to show how they could make the fire look. And the guy he was taking, he was holding an object with the mouse and he was waving it, and the fire was reacting to it as if you waved your hand through a fire. And it was reacting to it, and it was all AI. And if I hadn't known, because this was in a press conference, I might have believed it because it looked that real. And so we're already there. And what else were you talking about? You touched on what else? Because I was caught up on that part. What else were you hitting at?
In what I just said right now, or before?
Yeah. What you just said.
I don't know what you're referring to specifically.
I'm talking about, because you were talking about AI being, having a tough time discerning whether it's real or not.
Yeah.
So what else were you talking about in that monologue?
Yeah, I mean, I just said AI, you're not going to be able to necessarily tell what's real or not and how that is going to be effective for getting people to buy things.
That was it. Yeah. Okay. Right. So the likeness part. I'm cold today, man. I'll tell you, I'm shooting blanks. I'm cold. I'm cold. No, but
what do you mean?
My brain, I'm drawing blanks.
Seems like you're on
my brain's. I'm shooting. Well, I am, but every time I attempt to go there, a wall comes into my brain is like, you're not going there.
Tell the wall to
I'm going to tell
get
the wall
outta
to,
here.
yeah, no, seriously. But yeah, I mean, there's got to be some sort of like terms of condition for this sort of thing. Otherwise, I can't imagine anybody willingly giving up their likeness to a company when you just don't know what it's going to be used for. And maybe you have an idea if it's a company that's in an industry, like, for example, if it's a plane industry, and it's, oh, we're going to put your face on some happy dude sitting there with like a bottle of Coke or something, and, fine, but it could also be like a broad advertising agency that wants to use your likeness, and it's going to be used in multiple different ads that you don't know what it's going to be used for. So there's just, in my mind, there's no way that this isn't going to be regulated. It has to be. There's got to be some sort of terms of condition privacy policy that you're going to have to sign off on, and definitely read it. So yeah, I think I broke that wall just now,
Good.
but it took a minute.
Here's a question. What changes do you think we're going to need to make with our company in 15 years? What do you think?
It won't be recognizable.
You don't think so? You think it's going to be completely different?
I think it's going to be.
All right, tell me what you think it's going to look like.
I don't know. I couldn't even begin to guess because, dude, like, you good? Like, look at what's happening right now. We're already talking about people losing their likeness. We're talking about things that look real that aren't now. So you're talking about 15 years down the line. Who knows? I couldn't begin to think what it'll look like. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that the technology that's going to be available is incomprehensible, I feel like.
Yeah.
I just don't think we can comprehend it right now. I think we're blown away with what we have today. And for that to be 15 years in the future, I mean, I'm sitting here trying to comprehend giving up our likeness. So I can't even begin to imagine. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that we just have no idea about. But I think what you're right about is that it's going to be something that accelerates each year, because right now we're talking about, the idea of our likeness being used for whatever a company desires. And, we're talking about the floor of creativity and knowledge increasing. I think that's going to continue. And yeah, I think that people are probably going to be able to create their own type of media very, very quickly. Like if they wanted to watch a Disney movie about, I don't know, like,
They're already making Pixar posters. You see
yeah, they're
that?
making Pixar posters, but now they're going to be able to make those movies. Like they could, I bet what's going to happen is that they're probably going to be able to say, hey, I want a movie starring Jonah Hill, a Pixar movie about a summer trip to the Acadia Mountains. And I bet you're going to be able to see that super quickly, and there's going to be a 2-hour movie in front of you. And
Man,
I think
I believe it too.
yeah, I don't like it, but saying that, like, it just makes sense, but it's like it's scary at the same time too, because I want to be able to hold on to, the true art of filmmaking, but it seems like eventually it's going to turn into something like that. But like I said before, there's going to be some way that the people who want to stay true to what the art is, and people who are going to be able to use that to the best of their ability to create something that's, like even more inspiring than just thinking that up super quickly and wanting that to be in front of you. Like there's got to be some type of innovation that's going to happen that we're not thinking
Well,
about.
I'll tell you two things.
You know,
Number one, this isn't the first time that creative artists have had that kind of thought that you're having right now. It's happened over and over again. If you look hundreds of years ago, I mean, theater was it for God knows how long. They were doing that in medieval times, and then it got phased out. I mean, it still exists on a small scale now, but it got phased out by the big screen movies, and it broke that ceiling into a new sort of milestone. And we might be at another one, and it might be like, okay, the big screen movies are going to go on a smaller scale, and these whatever you call them, AI or whatever, is going to take a more front scale role. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is it's a business. It is a business. The film industry, every industry, is at the core a business. So people are going to find ways to make money, and if it's too easy, which it will be at the beginning, it just seems like it will be, things are going to start to become moderated for the sense of business. People are going to put up paywalls. People are going to push ChatGPT, because ChatGPT has already monopolized the AI. They already have at this point. Although you could argue that it's Microsoft because Microsoft bought ChatGPT. But anyway, where was I going with this? Anyway, yeah. So they've already kind of monopolized it. I'm running out of steam here.
Come on.
But I'm right there. I'm getting somewhere.
There was something.
Right. So anyway, it's a business. It's a business, and right. So I think there's going to be a lot of paywalls. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. When a business makes things this easy, as what I think is happening with ChatGPT, it creates that blue ocean theory where other businesses can't even attempt to get involved and and compete, because they can't make money, because ChatGPT is doing this for such a small price. I mean, their free version it opens an insane amount of opportunity. Making websites, it helps me tremendously, and I don't have to pay a penny for it. So these other businesses, they can't really do this avenue that ChatGPT does, because they can't profit off of it, because ChatGPT, everybody associates that name with AI. And so that's such a powerful connection, and other businesses can't just enter it, because they can't do the, oh, hey, we're charging less than ChatGPT, come over here, and they use the brand they already have that may be a powerful name. They may use that and go, oh, hey, this is a cheaper deal, but you can't do that because ChatGPT is free on the majority scale. Now, this video thing, I actually don't think that's free, but I also don't think it's that expensive. So again, I don't see how any other business can enter the industry like ChatGPT has. You know what I mean?
Right.
I got there eventually.
Yeah, it's like McDonald's and McNuggets. Sometimes when you go to Burger King, you'll still accidentally say McNuggets because they've associated
but
a food with a brand.
But it's like what you're saying there. McNuggets is obviously, it's a type of chicken nugget. This is almost like a company just taking that thing, the chicken nugget, and them only selling it. That's what it feels like. And then no other business can sell the chicken nugget because it's like, hey, we're giving out free chicken nuggets. Well, what are you going to do, charge for them?
I think Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, they have their own AI now. I think it's called Geku or something, or Grok.
I think you're right.
I wonder if that's going to be a competitor at all.
I think that's the only way that anybody could compete with it, is by using an already household name and adding an AI to it. But I still don't think it's going to matter, because even that, it's not their forefront main product. They're just trying to stick their toe into the industry. ChatGPT, they are the industry.
Right.
So nobody's going out of their way to go, oh, am I going to use ChatGPT or am I going to use X's AI? It's like you're not doing that. Like making websites, a very popular plugin on WordPress is Elementor. I almost want to say it's the most used plugin. It might be, and all it is it just makes it more. It brings it into more of a drag and drop way to make a website, and then you can implement coding to get what you want, but it gives you a little bit more creative freedom. Elementor has an AI. I still would use ChatGPT instead of Elementor when I was making the websites. I would still do that, even though Elementor had an AI. And it was really because it just wasn't as good. Even though it was embedded in there and step by step it would have been easier, it isn't strong enough. It doesn't have the power. If I tell ChatGPT, I want the code for this, and that, and I want maybe I want it to make a structured data markup, and I want then I want it to go, because structured data markup is usually in JSON code, but then if I go and I want CSS or I want HTML or it can do it all, and these other AIs it isn't always that simple. It'll oftentimes, it might even paywall you, like Elementor. You have to pay for that AI. I didn't pay exclusively for that AI. I just paid for the extra capabilities. With Elementor, you have to pay to use CSS, and that's important with websites.
Yeah, I feel like what's naturally going to happen is that companies are going to start to realize that people don't trust their own individual AI, but they're going to instead start to partner up with OpenAI and say, hey, like, we'll cut you in on like whatever we're making with this if we can say that we're using your AI that's integrated within our system.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think
I think it's similar to, just like other ways that companies have partnered up or have integrated another form of business into their own, like with what Amazon has done too. Like they have obviously made their fortune out of their online business, but they're also a streaming service too. And it's like you can get both of those things in one area.
They're everything. They're everything. And the thing with that, they don't need to do that. They don't need to go into an AI. Neither does X or Twitter, whatever. They don't need to, but it's good business to get involved in a new up and coming industry.
Right.
If you're the way I look at it is, no business is going to be able to just come in and be an open AI like ChatGPT. If they if they do, they're going to have to offer something significantly more. They're going to have to offer significantly more value in a way that ChatGPT can't. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I mean, talk about running away with an industry. It's like it's just hard for me to imagine a way that another industry or that another business can come in and be an exclusive open AI business and trump them. You know what I mean? Like maybe they get somebody that becomes known, but I can't imagine, and again, who knows what's going to happen in the future, another business coming in and just trumping everything that they do and doing everything better, Mm-hmm. Especially now they're getting funding from Microsoft, right?
Right. I feel like...
What do you think?
I feel like I don't like...
You look like you're hurting yourself over there.
No. I don't know. I just like... It's crazy to think about, though, because, if we're thinking about what this is going to turn into in like 10, 15 years, what does it turn into in 200, 300, 400 years?
We don't have enough time for that. we don't have anywhere near,
because
kids are going to be teleporting.
But just hear me out for a second, because when you think about it, like, with what I've studied with storytelling, like storytelling is giving somebody a message of experience. Mm-hmm. And when you have that message of experience, it allows you to connect better with other people, and it also gives you greater confidence that like you could do something similar to whatever happens on the screen or in a book, because you've understood what that person has experienced. And it also works the same way when you're buying something. Somebody else has had an experience and you're able to relate to that person, and so you kind of are converted into what they're talking about.
Who's that guy that's on Joe Rogan all the time? I think his name's Neil, and he's a big into astrology. He answers questions like that. I know you know who I'm talking about.
I might have seen him before. But when you think about it, it's like, like if you wanted to have certain knowledge about an experience, you would, like, I mean, how high tech are these stories that we're going to tell other people, and like how is it going to be able to be integrated into what we do, like and how realistic are these stories going to get?
They're gonna get too realistic, dude. They're gonna get way too realistic. That's the problem.
Do you see where I'm going with this?
Give me a couple more steps.
I mean, like, I'm not a simulation theorist yet.
Oh,
But,
all right.
But it does follow. You got to admit, it does follow.
We're gonna lose business just because you just went through. We're gonna lose business because you get too deep into these conversations. What's gonna happen 1,000 years from now? I don't know. I'll be dead.
I know. and I'm not. I'm definitely not.
You're
But
like, please stay.
all I'm saying is that, like, it's crazy how that can even be a thought, just based on where
we're already
we are.
doing virtual reality games.
Exactly.
Like I want one of those. I don't own one. I've
Yeah.
wanted one of those for a long time.
Yeah.
Virtual reality games are awesome. Those are super cool. And
Yeah.
And it's 2023 or almost 2024. And that's a real thing. So, 100 years from now, well, eat your vegetables. Maybe you'll live to see that. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
It's but yeah, no, I mean that's
I don't know. Let's take a more family friendly turn here.
I mean, you were the one that went.
Let's take it back to I don't know. Well, okay, here we go.
Okay,
so
let's hear it.
you have been adamant that you want to play PS2 again. Why? Why do you want to go back to PS2?
Because I'm getting old. That's why. Because
if we
because
have
I want to go
games- if we
because I
have
want to
games
go
with
back to my
great graphics,
childhood.
yeah.
Because there's nothing. You know why? I'll tell you why. Because all these games that come out nowadays, they don't give me the same feeling that those games gave me.
Why don't they give you the same feeling?
I could be an old man and say they're not as good. I
Try
just
to
think
be as objective as possible.
But I don't. At my core, maybe they were just more simple. Games nowadays are so much more complicated. But I don't know if that's it. It's just I think it reminds me of being a kid, sitting down, playing Spider-Man 2. That game came out in like 2004, and that game was. I could still play that game and be just as entertained as I was when I was 5, and I think for some reason I just feel like that game still holds up today. Games like Halo 2, Halo 1, those games are legendary, and I also like to play Burnout 3, and I don't know, what do those games have in common? Spider-Man, you could zip around New York, and if you wanted to just do that, you could. The missions were pretty straightforward. I never really got confused, but it was challenging enough. Burnout is a car game, and the objective is basically how much destruction can you make, and it plays like hard rock music in the background, and I don't know, that made it more cool as a little kid. Halo's it's really one of the first true shooter games, and you're fighting aliens, and I don't know, I think the concept of all those games was very, maybe not Halo, but the other two were pretty simple. I mean, Spider-Man, it's based off of something that was made decades earlier, Stan Lee's, all that. But in general, like, you look at games nowadays, a lot of them have a lot of extra things you have to pay for, and there's a zillion YouTube videos reviewing them, and then everybody's telling you their opinion. It's harder for you to make your own opinion because you're listening to what all these other guys are saying. Then you go in with a negative or positive outlook before you even touch the game, because all these people are telling you to feel that way. Mm-hmm. As a kid, me and you, we were counting down the days when those games would come out. We'd just be, oh, dude, 5 more days, 4 more days. Even if the game was going to be bad, we would still enjoy it just because of the suspense and the excitement that we built up. Just being so excited to sit down on the floor with a bowl of cereal at 8 in the morning and play that game. We'd pause the game, go to bed, wake up, it would still be paused, and it was all offline, so it didn't matter. You had physical memory cards you stuck in, nothing there, and again, I feel like an old man talking like it, but it felt like a simpler, more fun time, and not to mention, I mean, the times where it wasn't expected, like you wake up and there's a snow day. There's a snow day. You mean I get to
That
sit?
hit.
You mean I get to sit and play video games? I get to play Spider-Man 2. I get to play Burnout, and not worry about anything. There was no Zoom. There was no online classes. I didn't have to go check my emails and see. Oh no, Mrs. Parker sent me an email. We have
Right.
we have to go to a Zoom class now.
Yeah, because even though it wasn't quote unquote as playable from a gameplay standpoint, even though those games didn't look as good as they do now, there was that, like you were talking about, that like almost ravenous anticipation for it. And when you got the chance to play it, it meant so much. One, because it was just fun to play by yourself, but also it's like, we had that shared experience of, oh shoot, this thing is coming out, and you place so much meaning on that. And
Movie video games did so much better back then.
yeah,
They did.
and now it's like, games are great, but every once in a while I'll just be playing a game, and then halfway through I'll be like, doesn't really do it for me. I'll just turn it off.
And
there isn't that excitement to play it.
I'll just say, for those that know me, I don't play as much as I used to, but when I was, probably from the ages of like 16 to 22, we'll just say, when I played games not with the same intention as a kid. When I was a kid, I played them because they were, remember the SpongeBob movie video game?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it needs no explanation. It was
Yeah.
it was just that incredible.
We gotta play that.
Yes, we're gonna go to the store and buy these games again. When I was kind of a teenager and early adulthood,
Kind of.
what do you mean kind of?
You said kind of.
I don't know. You judging my vocabulary?
Why are you saying kind of?
I don't know. I mean, I feel
All right, whatever. Go.
we don't have time to get into
Yeah,
this.
we have 5 minutes.
I know. I played games more competitively. I went to tournaments, actually. I've won tournaments, and I played to win. I played to try to be the best, and to me, it went from becoming something that was fun to almost becoming a sport. Like when I was playing sports as a kid, I always wanted to play to win. I wanted to win. If I played well and we lost, I was still mad. That's kind of what video games turned into for me. And I will say that aspect of gaming has taken the forefront. A lot of people don't play to have fun as much as they do to win. And that's, with games like shooters, that's everything now. Whereas 20 years ago, that wasn't so much the case. Now they have to balance everything, and games are just so much more founded on competition than they were 25 years ago, And it's like, even go further back, games like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Tetris, all simple games, but they made generations. They're nostalgic for so many people. Or Mario, I mean, come on. If you look at Mario, that game was ahead of its time. And it's just like,
Yeah, I wonder if Mario would have the same connection now
If it came out
if
today.
it was like a third-person adventure game that had super realistic graphics. I don't think it would.
I don't feel like it would.
It's
feel like it would.
It's got that charm because of the simplicity of it, and because
And we're losing that.
Yeah.
We're losing that simplicity. And I mean, especially you look at AI. I mean, we're going to be making video games with AI. We haven't even talked about that. It's
Yeah.
like, too bad.
Well, and
Why do we have to run out of storage?
This
is like another 20 minutes.
the same way with movies. I bet it's going to be, I want a video game where I get to be on this island and I have these friends and these enemies. All right, go ahead.
That's called Lord of the Flies.
All right, well, maybe I want a Lord of the Flies game, and
That's a copyright strike right there.
I bet you're going to be able to do that super
Might
quickly.
already exist. But, all right. Anyway, I'll just say that, I think there was, especially as a young boy with a growing mind, simplistic games were great. It was easier to have fun. So, I think that's just kind of a lost art nowadays. And I tell you, this week I'm going to go to this place up the street that sells old games and buy all my old games back.
You
I'm gonna
better.
bring them up here. We already got the AV adapter. We're going to rip it up out here. All right, we have 2 minutes, so get your closing thoughts in. I don't want it to cut off while you talk.
Why do we have to do closing thoughts each time?
We always do. What are you going to ruin it now? We've built a trend.
All right, closing thoughts.
Clock's ticking, pal.
Yeah, I think it's like there's so much value in those nostalgic things like we're talking about with these simple video games. But then you have to balance that with what's going to eventually come about in the future. And so I think it's an individual thing for each person. It's like, what do you want to hold on to as something that you're nostalgic for and you have those fond memories of those experiences that you had and the friendships that you had with those experiences? And then how do you want to look ahead too and try to create a better world that hopefully isn't run by evil robots in the future? It's like, how do you try to do both of those things? And I think it's like, of course, we're starting here with media, but then also there's, some crazy world events happening too. And
1 minute.
I know. And so I think it's like we just got to think about how media has an effect on everything else that's happening in the world. And so, yeah, that's my closing thought.